Hello and welcome back to Culinary Haven. Today we're making an unusual pastry which we called double crust apple cake. On the bottom it has a short crust pastry, nice crunchy with some almonds, and then on top of that is a sponge crust. Then you have apples that are during baking, they caramelize, and there you have it, this beautiful and absolutely delicious cake. Let's begin. And we'll start with preparing the first crust, which we're going to make in this small chopper because it's not a big amount of ingredients. It's a short crust type of dough, so we need flour, 160 grams, cold butter cubed, 80 grams, and 50 grams of icing sugar. Blitz it together until it resembles breadcrumbs. That's it. And now we're going to transfer this mixture into a parchment-lined spring form, tin 23 centimeters in diameter. If you're worried that it all looks like sand, don't worry about that. That's how it should look. So what we're doing now is just spreading this mixture around the bottom of our spring form tin and pat it down gently. And nothing else, surprisingly. That's all there is to it. It looks like, I don't know, dry milk powder or something. Just it doesn't look like short crust pastry at this moment, but believe me, that's all there is to it. You don't need to do anything else. So the next step is to add on top of that about half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Just sprinkle it all over. Okay, that's it. And 30 grams or 2 heaped tablespoons of flaked almonds on top of that. You don't need to pat it down or anything like that. Just make sure it's distributed evenly. And that is that. We're going to put it in the fridge for about 20 minutes until the oven is ready. We preheat it to 180 degrees Celsius. So the oven is now hot and ready at 180 degrees Celsius, and we're going to put this in for 15 minutes. So it's been 15 minutes. The first crust is half baked and the almonds are nicely toasted because they will be underneath the second layer and the apples, so it was important to bake it this way, pre-bake it and toast the almonds. And now we'll just set it aside whilst we're making the second crust, which is the sponge, and prepare the apples. And to make our second crust, the sponge, we'll need 3 eggs, 180 grams of sugar and a sachet of vanilla sugar, 150 grams of very soft unsalted butter, and 150 grams of plain flour. And we'll start with separating the eggs. As you may have noticed, we're not using baking powder. The eggs will be our leavening agent. We'll add a pinch of salt to the egg whites and then whisk them to stiff peaks. And the next step is we're going to whisk together the egg yolks, sugar, very, very soft butter, and vanilla sugar. You can see that these egg yolks are very bright orange, and as we go whisking the yolks, sugar and butter, the mixture becomes paler, and that's the goal. Now we'll gradually add the egg whites into the mixture and gently fold it in. I'm using a rubber spatula for that. That will make the batter very light, and it will help the cake to rise without using any baking powder. At this point, I'm going to sift in the flour, 150 grams, in 2 steps. And now add the remaining egg whites. Loosen in the mixture. And at this consistency, we will be able to spoon, like a dropping consistency. We'll be able to spoon the batter on top of the almonds without disturbing them and creating our second crust. That's it. The second crust is done. Cool down, and now we're going to sponge batter on top of it. Do gently so you don't disturb the almonds. And don't worry if the mixture is not coming right up to the edges, because we're going to put the apples on top of this batter and it will spread. And now we're going to put the apples on top of that. Peeled, cored and quartered apples. You will need anywhere in between 4 and 5. So I've prepared 5. I'm using Granny Smith apples. Cut each apple in half, and then in half again, and then make 3 scores on each quarter. It will look very nice. We'll see. It depends. Depends on the size of the apples, of course. We'll see how many will fit in. And now we're going to assemble the apples on top of the sponge, as many as we can, just in any pattern you like, pressing it in gently. And now here, it's the best way. Let's try it this way. That's the best I can do. We've used 4½ apples. So now, the last step before it goes in, we need to brush the apples with melted butter, 2 tablespoons, 30 grams approximately, of melted unsalted butter, and then sprinkle with some crunchy demerara sugar on top. It's beautiful, isn't it? And now the sugar. This little scoop of mine is 2 tablespoons. So we'll see. Perfect. And now we're going to bake it in the preheated to 180 degrees Celsius oven for 1 hour. So this is it. An hour later, our double crust apple cake is ready. Just look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? So what we have here, We can't unmold it just now because it's super hot. It's just straight out of the oven. But you can see that because of the melted butter and sugar, the apples are perfectly cooked. They're soft and lovely. And the sponge is now all sugary and sort of crusty on top, and it'll be soft in the middle. And then a nice, crispy, crunchy short crust base with toasted almonds. This cake, to my taste, is perfection. We'll wait until it cools down and then we'll slice it. So the cake has now cooled down. We unmolded it on this lovely platter, and let's cut a slice. You can hear on the bottom the short crust layer making a noise. There. Just take a look at that. Thank you for watching this episode of Culinary Haven. Please like, comment and subscribe. And until next time, bye!